is like a common thread amongst the major religions, and it's often misunderstood. I mean, even the concept of karma is misconstrued. We think do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or what goes around comes around. But could there be a hidden door within the golden rule that opens to reveal a pathway to the greatest adventure of our lives? Could karma have this layer to it that's more than just cause and effect? And what can we learn about money from these two rules or these two concepts? Welcome to the FIFE Movement. I'm your host, Amanda Neely. This is the only movement that helps our generation create our unique, feminine, and entrepreneurial path to financial independence. Now, there's a joke in the financial sector that has a lot of truth to it, as much as I don't like this joke. The joke goes like this. The golden rule is actually translated as, he who has the gold makes the rules. And it's critical that it's always stated as he, right? That's probably the biggest part of what makes this joke true. Women still make less than men, and women still have a much lower average net worth than men do. No wonder men still make the rules. But the times, they are a-changing, and they're changing so much that we can't even go back to the translation of the golden rule as do unto others as you would have them do to yourself. Sure, that's a great way to teach our kids how to be nice to others. And of course, I'll be the first to admit, I'm no biblical or religious scholar, but I have heard a much better translation is this: as you do to others, so you do to yourself. I'll say that again. As you do to others, so you also do to yourself. That sounds a lot more like karma. What happens to a person happens because they caused it with their actions. A Buddhist friend of mine shared a very insightful article with me that shares another level of karma that has a lot to do with something I hadn't come across before. And I'll put a link to this article if you want to check it out. But one of the components is that karma has this quality of mind in the moment of action, that the intention of the action is important. And that really drives well with how I had been thinking about the golden rule. I was starting to wonder, how would we act if whatever we did, we also did to ourselves immediately? If we take it to the extreme, what if every time you bought a product produced in a sweatshop, that meant you had to work in a sweatshop for like 2 hours, right? Every product you buy meant you had to go work in a sweatshop for 2 hours. At another level, like some say that investing in stocks leads to employees making less and CEOs making more. So what if every time we purchased a stock, our own salaries went down, and we felt that immediate effect? If we saw those kind of immediate effects in our actions, I bet we'd change our behavior as fast as possible. But what the golden rule really highlights is how incongruous our thinking and our behavior are. What we say we believe and what we think is right, and how we live, how we act, are drastically different. And the problem is that we don't see the effects immediately after the cause, right? So we continue to live the same ways, we behave thinking we might eventually pay for our actions one day, but today has enough worries of its own, right? So I know what I probably should do, but it's so much easier to just do, X, Y, or Z that's different. But what if there was a way to transform both tomorrow's worries and today's worries? What if the worries transformed as we aligned our beliefs and our values together? And of course, what does this have to do with money? You might be wondering by this point. And what it ultimately comes down to for me is that the golden rule and the concept of karma, they're invitations. They are invitations to an intentional self-transformation. The invitation is to go beyond breaking the rules or following the rules. It's an invitation to birth a new story of self that's more transcendent than rules. And in Buddhism, the way you do that is through meditation. In other religions, it's through things like prayer and connecting with a higher power, stuff like that. And of course, the rules are super ethnocentric anyway. What a 59-year-old white man thinks is good for others might be very different from what a 21-year-old brown woman might say, right? So do unto others as you would want to be treated can look differently depending on where you are. And that recognition and the new translation of as you do unto others, so you also do unto yourself. As you judge others, you likely are also judging yourself. As you admire others, you're likely admiring those qualities within yourself. When you start to notice things like that, it allow it to show you the possibilities for yourself, possibilities to be equitable rather than equal, possibilities to dig deeper and go from following quote unquote rules to following unique ways to understand what others need and what we need for ourselves and to act accordingly, right? And it's about the intention behind that action that leads to the action. From the heart, the words and the actions come forth. And when it comes to money, finally, I'm getting there. I'm a big believer that how we spend, save, and invest our money is super important. It does a lot to others, but it also does a lot to ourselves. And I believe that transforming what we do with our money can transform every other area of our lives. By way of example, I've seen taking control of money free people up to be more generous and to receive generosity in return. And that generous life, living life in the gift, the gift economy, stuff like that is very fun to live that kind of life. So what can this boil down to? What might you do today? My invitation to you today is this. Take a moment, pause, reflect, and think of one step you can take toward transforming your story with money to go beyond following the rules you've heard to customizing your path to fit what you want for yourself and what you want for those around you. If you're unsure what step to take, I've actually created a mini course, my gift to you, that you can find at FIFEmovement.com, where I talk about money in ways you've probably never heard before and help you think through ways you might go beyond just following the rules to custom tailoring your financial path to you and what fits you. And toward control, right? And then toward freedom to do to others and to yourself as you believe is right, to align your actions with your beliefs is a big part of what happens as people go through that mini course. So again, you can find it at fifemovement.com. And thanks for joining me and connecting with the FIFE movement. As you go about your day today, remember, wealth is coming your way. Your quest is to prepare for using it well. For more tips on how to prepare, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And to connect with the community, visit fifemovement.com. And if this gift of thinking about the golden rule and karma maybe a little differently, if that's helped you today, please pay the gift forward by sharing this content with a friend. My gratitude in advance. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks so much for being here. To help this video be seen by more people, please hit the like button. And we invite your feedback in the comments too.